How are you all?
Good afternoon,
Good
sir.
afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. I'm fine. I'm fine. Thank you. Good afternoon, sir. So nice to meet you all again. This session we are going to discuss with the previous discussions we have started, or previous topic we have started. Can you remember what was the issues we tried to cover in our last session? Mm-hmm. Journal entries. We have shown the process how to do the journals by applying the debit credit rule in our previous session, and you are also asked to solve a problem to journalize a few transactions. Have you done it? Cool. Yeah. So we are going to cross check those problem, and if you have any query, any problems, we are going to discuss those issues as well. In addition to that, we will complete the next steps of the recording process, that we know that after journalization we have to prepare ledger and trial balance. We will focus on that. And before moving to that one, can you remember what we mentioned earlier? What is the objective of accounting? Why we do accounting, or why do we need to do accounting activities in an organization?
To record the transaction,
To record the transactions, yes, it is one of them. But what is the main one? Yeah. Okay, this is one of the objective. In the definition, what did you mention? What is accounting? Yeah, interpreting
Sir,
the.
to keep a systematic record of financial transactions,
Yeah. After that,
which helps the users to understand the day-to-day transactions.
it helps to decision making. That means,
decision making.
yeah, decision making is being done by other people, but accounting activities role is to provide this information to the decision maker. That means providing information is the main objective. So, for example, you know that investor is a decision maker. So, how an investor make the decision? Say, if you are an investor, if you want to invest any money or any amount to an organization, you might have a number of alternatives on hand. Say, for example, two companies are, or two alternatives you have on your hand, but you can invest in one organization. How are you going to take the decision?
So we will see their transactions. We will see their journals,
Mhm.
financial statement, balance.
Financial statement, balance sheet. That means how much profit they have earned, what is the prospect of this organization, and some other issues as well. Now, when you are going to compare the financial statement of these two companies, if these two companies are not following the same rules and regulation to prepare their financial statement, do you think that these two financial statement will be comparable? Say, if both of them do not follow the same procedure to recognize their revenue, expense, asset, and other things, do you think that no, this will not be comparable? Exactly. I'm going to that one. There are some accounting concepts, there are some accounting standards, there are some accounting rules that we are supposed to follow when we are preparing the financial statement. We'll discuss about this concept, rules, standards relatively in details in another session, but just going to give you some basic idea about that. That each and every country have some regulatory bodies who will be responsible for or assigning this uh, accounting standards, so that each and every organization should follow that standards, and by following that standards they can prepare their financial statement. And these standards are uniform, or are being used globally, so that the financial statements of one country's can be comparable with another country's financial statement. And you can see that there are some accounting bodies, accounting regulatory bodies worldwide. They are responsible to update, to moderate, to develop different accounting standards. And in countries, there are some regulatory authorities as well who are also responsible to adopt those standards into the into that country. Say, for example, FASB, Financial Accounting Standard Boards, they are responsible for developing standards worldwide. Securities and Exchange Commission, for each country, they are also responsible to find out which standards regulation should be adopted in our country. Institutes of Chartered Accountants of Bangladesh, they are also responsible to find out the different standards that need to be adopted in our country. Then International Accounting Standard Boards, this is an international board who are also responsible to develop different types of standards uh, and uh, uh, update those standards worldwide. So there are some regulatory bodies. And there are some things we should keep in mind when we are handling different types of transaction. Say, we have purchased an equipment with a value of 32,000 after negotiation, but the market price of this equipment is 35,000. At what price are you going to record it? What do you think? Sorry? Say, you purchased the equipment with a cost of 32,000, but the market price of the equipment is 35,000 or 30,000. Are you going to record at your sacrificing price or at the market price?
And the price in which we bought.
On the price which you, yeah, at the price at price at which you have sacrificed to purchase this asset, that is cost price. This is the principles actually guide us to record those. It says that whenever you are recording something or any activities, whatever was your actual cost price, you should record on that price. That is known as a historical cost principles. We'll discuss this later on as well. Sometimes fair value or market value can be considered for a different issues. We'll later on we'll focus on that issue. But keep in mind that whenever we are spending some amount of money, we definitely have to record those activities with that amount or the sacrificing price. Initially, when we are explaining the accounting, we mentioned that in accounting we consider only those activities which can be expressed in terms of money. That also guided by one of the principles or assumptions, that is called monetary unit assumptions. In monetary unit assumption, it says that we'll consider in accounting only those activities which can be expressed in terms of money, otherwise not. When we are dealing the accounting activities of an organization, from which part we should consider, from the organization's perspective or from owner's perspective? Organization's perspective. That exactly, that is also guided by another principle or assumption, that is known as economic entity assumption. That means each of the organization have a separate entity, and that's why whenever we are dealing with accounting activities, we should consider from an organization perspective. And the nature of the organization can be different based on its forms of ownership. Yes, sir. Same thing. Yeah. Business entity and economic entity are the same thing. Okay. So these are the things we should keep in mind uh, whenever we are handling the accounting activities. Just this is just a basic idea. We'll discuss in detail in chapter 3 about these principles and standards. Okay. Now let's move to the problems we have shared with you. Yeah, Ishana.
Sir, I had a question about the assignment.
Yes, sir.
Sir, after doing the tabular analysis, do we have to journalize the transaction?
No, 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 no. Just focused on what they have asked for. Okay. Just focus on what they have asked
So
for.
do we have to write the net income note explaining what are the titles?
I always prefer to show the calculations.
Like you created a box. That's why I'm
A
asking.
statement, that is called a statement, income statement, isn't
Yes,
it?
sir.
So I always prefer, if you mention any figures, show your calculation, even if it is not been asked.
Okay, sir. Like you did in
Yeah,
Excel sheet.
yeah, exactly, exactly.
Okay, thank you,
Okay,
sir.
it will help. It will help you later on as well. Yes, sir.
So the date on the Excel says that May, but in the assignment it's August. So will I change it?
Yeah, you have to change it. It's a sample only.
Okay.
It's a sample only. Any more query?
Sir, can the assignment be done through a phone because I don't have access to a laptop?
Yes. If you have to upload it, so far I know.
Okay, okay.
Okay. So if you can do it and submit it, then I have no
Through my
problem.
phone?
Yeah, and it's not a problem for me.
Okay.
If it is available to me, then it's okay. And it's totally up to you how you are submitting your assignments. All right?
Sir, another thing.
Yeah.
Um, so notes payable is a small amount and loan is a big amount.
It doesn't mean. It doesn't mean that like that. It can be any amount. It can be an amount. Yeah. Okay. Any other query, sir?
Sir, I had another question.
Please feel free, sir.
From the first chapter, we did not discuss the format of the cash flow statement in class.
We haven't done it. We'll do it later on. Is that okay, sir? We have a separate chapter regarding cash flow statement. We'll prepare the cash flow statement on that chapter. Okay? Cool. Any other query?
No, sir.
Cool. So now let's cross check the problems or the we have assigned in our last session. So in our last sessions, you are asked to generalize a few transactions regarding the variance licensed dentists, and the activities for April was given here. So now help me to journalize this transaction. So on April 1, she has invested 20,000 cash in the business. So what should be the journal?
Cash debit, capital to credit.
Cash.
Cash debit, capital credit. Excellent. Hired a secretary, receptionist at a salary of 700 per week, payable monthly.
This is not
It's
Salary
not a
transaction.
transaction.
It's not. It's not a transaction. We definitely
No
have to.
transaction.
Yeah, we have to. Definitely, we have to mention
because
it.
salary is an expense. An expense is a debit item.
Salary is an but you just hired that secretary receptionist. She did not provided any services yet, or it has not been guaranteed that she will join. You just appoint her.
But the salary is increasing, right?
If she provides service, then the salaries will be increased. If she doesn't join, are you liable to provide salaries to her?
No.
No. That's why whenever they will just mention hired someone or just did a contract, something like that, it doesn't mean that it's a transaction. When it will be im- uh, uh, executed, then it will start becoming a transaction. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
All right, sir. Then paid office rent for the month.
Sir, can you please repeat? Sorry, sir.
Say for example, we have got say for example, someone has appointed me. They have given me the joining letter or appointment letter, not the joining letter, appointment letter. Do you think that after providing the appointment letter, they are liable to provide any salaries to me?
No, sir.
No. When they will be liable to provide salaries to me? when I will join and start providing services, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
So this indicates they just hired. This means that they have issued an appointment letter to that guy or that person, that you have been appointed to for that position in our organization. So in that case, it is not a liability for the organization to provide $700 per week as a salary. When that secretary will join, will start providing services, then they will be liable to provide salaries. Otherwise, not. This is why we
So
mentioned
it
that
has to be mentioned in the question.
it has to be mentioned into the question, or at the end, if you looked at this transaction, at the end you can see on 30th they have paid the salaries to this receptionist. It means that she has started and provided services. That's why at the end of the month they are going to provide the salaries.
Thank you, sir. Got it.
Okay, cool. Just write down not a transaction. Okay, just like that, not a transaction. Number 5, paid office rent for the month.
So rent debit,
Hmm?
cash credit.
Rent debit, cash credit. Excellent. Or you can write down rent expense debit, cash credit. Or you can write down office rent debit or office rent expense debit, cash credit. Whatever you like. On April 3, purchase dental supplies on account.
So dental supplies debit and accounts payable credit.
Excellent. Dental supplies or supplies, whatever you like, debit, accounts payable credit. Because it was on account, that's why they did not, it mentioned that they did not pay cash. Perform
Sir,
dental,
can you explain 3rd April again?
3rd April, purchase dental supplies on account. On account means on credit or without any cash dealings or cash transactions. They purchase something without paying cash. That means they are liable to pay cash future. That's why accounts payable account. What did they purchase? Dental supplies. You can mention dental supplies or supplies. So dental supplies debit, accounts payable credit.
Sir,
Sir,
can we
if a
mention the
person,
company's name?
We'll,
Signing that.
we'll discuss it later on. Not now. Sorry, sir. One of your friends probably wanted to say something.
sir, if a person borrows money from bank, will it be notes payable or accounts payable?
Do you think that after borrowing the money, they issued any notes? Did they mention that they have issued any notes?
No, sir. It's just
Yes,
like
sir.
borrowing money. Is it like note payable or loan?
What
No, sir.
what
If
about
it
whatever we discussed in our previous session?
if it doesn't mention, then what to do?
What to do? Borrowed 1500 from Grafton State Bank. What are the two accounts? I mentioned it here. Cash
Cash
and
and loan.
cash and loan.
Uh, if it is note
No, sir.
payable, then
I'm talking about if it doesn't mention that signing a note, then what happens?
This is the thing. Borrowed 1500 from Grafton State Bank. Did they mention anything about note?
No, sir.
No. In that case, cash and loan.
sorry,
If
if
the
it
if,
Okay,
says
sir.
note payable, then only
then only say for this one, borrowed 1500 from Grafton State Bank, signing a notes. Then we'll consider the notes payable.
or else it will go to loan, right?
Or otherwise, yeah, otherwise it will be go to the loan.
So it's liability, right, sir?
It's a liability.
Loan.
Yeah, loan is a liability as well. Loan is itself a liability. Yeah. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we
Sir, can we write the company name instead of supplies here?
no. We have purchase supplies, so we definitely have to mention the supplies. We cannot mention the company name instead of supplies. We can use the company name along with this accounts payable, but we'll discuss it in the next session, not this one.
Okay, sir.
3 gone. Then 10, April 10, perform dental service and build insurance company, 5100. performed dental service and billed insurance company 5100.
The account
Service
pay
debit credit.
and service revenue.
Accounts payable or receivable?
Sir, receivable.
Receivable. You are going to receive money after providing the service. So accounts receivable debit, service revenue credit. Receive 1000 cash in advance from a customers for implant. This organization provide dental service, so implant service will be provided. That's why this 1000 cash received in advance. That means service will be provided later on.
Cash debit accounts payable credit.
Okay, okay. That's a good issue. Basically, we do not write it accounts payable. Received cash and service provided. If the situation is like that, in number 10, we did the same thing. Received cash and service provided, it is considered as a revenue and we have recorded it as a service revenue, isn't it?
Yes.
We categorized as revenue. In that case, received cash but service will be provided in future.
Sir, accrued revenue.
Yeah, extra revenue, exactly. Received cash but service will be provided in future. So is it a revenue for them?
Yes, sir. Say again.
No. Did they provide the service?
Yes. No, no, no.
No, no,
No,
no.
they didn't.
They didn't provide the service. So
It's a liability.
it's a liability. Are they liable to provide service?
Yes.
Yes, they have taken the money. So it will be considered as a liability. Okay, it will be considered as a liability. And when you receive money to provide service in future, that types of liability is known as unearned revenue or accrued revenue. One of your friend have mentioned unearned revenue. When you receive cash and service provided, this is basically earned revenue. In accounting concept, we are actually called earned revenue. Earned revenue is recorded as service revenue, which is a revenue for the organization. And when you receive cash but yet not provided any services, but you are liable to provide services, it's your liability and it will be considered as an unearned revenue. So we have to record it as unearned revenue when you receive cash in advance to provide service. Is it clear to you all?
Yes, sir.
So how should we record this number 11? We have
Sir,
received
cash debit, unearned revenue credit.
exactly cash debit, unearned revenue, or you can also specify unearned service revenue because it is related to provide service. So cash debit, unearned service revenue or unearned revenue credit 1000. Number 12, receive 2100 cash for service performed from Michael Santos. It's an straightforward. What would be the journal?
Sir, cash and service revenue.
Cash and service revenue. They have received cash by providing service, cash and service revenue. So cash and service revenue. Number 30, paid secretary receptionist for the month 2800. Now they are paying.
Sir, salary and cash.
Salary and cash.
Cash credit, salary debit.
Debit. Salary is expense debit, cash credit 2800.
Sir, can I write only salary?
Yes, you can write down salaries. Number 30, paid 2600 to Dazzle for accounts payable due. From the diesel company, you have purchased supplies on account of 4,000. Now, out of 4,000, you are paying 2,600.
Accounts payable and cash.
Accounts payable and cash. So, accounts payable debit, cash credit.
Cash credit, accounts payable debit.
Accounts payable debit, cash credit. Excellent. So, that's how we'll do the journalization. So, I think you are now comfortable with the journalization. Now, next step. So, say in accounting, we commonly use a term accounting period. Accounting period means that for the durations you want to prepare your accounting statement or financial statement. This accounting period can be for 1 month, can be for 3 months, can be for 6 months, can be for 12 months or 1 year, depending on the nature of the policy of the organization. So, for example, if it is for 3 months or 6 months or 12 months, how many transactions do you think the organization can face by this accounting period or by this duration? What do you think? Say the duration of accounting period. That means the activities we are going to consider for accounting activities. How many transaction can happen, or how many activities like that can incur in an organization within that accounting period? If the accounting period is for 3 months or 6 months or 12 months, what do you think?
So it depends on how large the company is.
Exactly. It depends on how large the company is. For a small or medium sized organization, at least couple of hundreds, at least couple of thousands, isn't it? And if it is a large scale, definitely couple of thousand, isn't it? So they have to face couple of hundreds or thousands transactions during that period. And when they face these transactions, they record it. Initially they record it through the journal, but they also need some other information. Say for example, when the activities are going to be incurred, they might be interested to know how much cash on hand, how much we have spent to purchase supplies, how much our liability regarding accounts payable, how much we took loan, how much salaries we have paid. Some such information may be needed at that moment. So if you have hundreds of or thousands of journals to you, is it possible to provide those information? How?
Through Excel sheet.
Yeah, it's possible to after finding out all the activities regarding cash, after finding out all the activities regarding equipment, salaries, or the information we actually needed, isn't it?
It's a T account.
Yeah, I'm going to that, I'm going to that. Yeah. So after finding out, after looking after each of the accounts, so it will be time consuming and chance of mistake is very high. That's why what we have to do, after the journalization we do a next step, that is called ledger or preparation of ledger, which is actually also known as general ledger. We prepare sorry, general ledger. And in the general ledger, what we actually do, we prepare a summary for each of the accounts we have created in our journals. We have created cash account, we have created capital account. So all the cash related activities, all the capital related activities are summarized together into the ledger. And from this ledger, we can give easily collect or grab those summarized information for each of the account. Now we are going to see how can we prepare ledger. Let us discuss the format first, then we will see how can we transfer information from journal to ledger. This is basically the format of a account, a specific ledger account. We have to mention the date, we need to mention the particulars, reference number, debit column, credit column, and balance with the monetary unit measurement. That's how a ledger account, one ledger account is being prepared. So now let's see what are the journals we have made. So how to transfer information from journal to ledger. So initially we will focus on each of the individual journals we have made. So in the first one we have made this journal, cash, debit, capital, credit. How many accounts we have created here? Two. One is cash, another one is capital. So what we need to do in the ledger, we have to create two individual accounts. One is for cash, another one is for capital. This is cash account. This one is capital account. After creating these two accounts, now we are going to transfer information. Cash was debited by 20,000 and capital was credited by 20,000. So what we are going to do in the cash account, this is called cash account into the ledger. Cash was debited by 20,000. So into the debit column, we will mention 20,000 on April 1. Why cash was debited? In the particular columns, we will mention the reasons for that because of the capital investment. That means capital, but in the particular, there will be a capital and debit 20,000 on April 1. Similarly, into the capital account, capital was credited by 20,000 on April 1, and in the particular, the reasons for that. Capital increases by 20,000 by the cash investment of owner, that is cash. That's how we have to transfer information from journal to ledger. And transferring information from journal to ledger is called posting. Transferring information from journal to ledger is called posting. And this is how we have to post information from journal to ledger. Have you got it?
Yes, sir.
Cool. Now there is an activity regarding the reference letter. Some of your friends have asked in our previous session how to handle the reference column. So whenever there are thousands of activities in an organization, they record it into the journal's book into different pages. And sometimes later on you may need to cross check whatever journals you have made. So you have to find out what journals you have made on what pages or where you have transferred this information. So that's why we have mentioned that this is from journal page number 1. So whenever we have recorded this information to our specific ledger account, this uh, cash was debited 20,000. This information was transferred from journal page number 1. I'll just mention it like that. That means we can link it that this information actually comes from page number 1 of the journal book. Similarly, for the capital, this information also comes from journal page number 1. That's how we link this ledger account with the journal account. Now, next question comes, how can we link journal to ledger? Whenever we are doing or preparing a ledger account, we have to provide some reference number for each of the accounts and how it is being done. If you noticed from our earlier discussions, you can see that all the activities of an organization we have categorized into this 5 category: assets, liability, expense, revenue, and owners, isn't it? Do you agree with me that whatever activities we have faced so far, we have categorized it into these 5 categories? Yeah. So whenever organizations create accounts, that means there might be couple of assets account, couple of liabilities account, couple of expense account, revenue account, or owner security account. They identify a range of numbers by which they can identify what accounts are those and what types of accounts are these. So for example, this is an examples only. All the assets are being recorded with the reference number of 10001 to 300. All the liabilities are being recorded 301 to 500. All the expenses are recorded 501 to 800. All the revenues are being recorded 801 to 1100. All the equity related activities are being recorded to 101 1101 to 1200. That means if they create any assets account, they uh, gives a reference number to that assets account, something between 101 to 300. If they create any liability account, they provides a reference number to that liability account, something between 301 to 500, like it, like this for expense, revenue, and owner security. For example, we already create 2 accounts. One is cash, another one is capital. So what can be the reference number, or what types of cash account is
Asset.
asset? So cash will use a reference number which belongs to 101 to 300, something between 101 to 300. Say for example, cash account reference number is 101. So cash is an asset, reference number is 101. So whenever we transfer information from journal to ledger, there is a reference number, you can, if you can remember, reference number. So this cash of 20,000 has been transferred where? 101. We'll just mention 101. It indicates that on April 1, the cash amount of 20,000 we have received. Now to summarize those information, we transfer this 20,000 to 101 ledger account. And whenever you need to verify or clarify this or need to check it, you'll just go to the 101 account, and this 101 account, by going through that, you can see that there was a cash of debit 20,000. That's how the reference is being used into the journal and to the ledger.
Um,
Yes.
couldn't you just check searching by the dates?
It might be difficult because in a specific date there might be hundreds of transactions. So you have to look at for that 100 transactions.
Right.
Okay,
Sir,
that's
can you please explain again like how the reference is made?
so when the reference number is being made. Generally, the reference number is being categorized based on the category of the accounts in the organization. Say, for this example, the all this organization referred all the assets account, whatever the assets account they are going to create, is as 101 to 300. Say if they create equipment is an asset, for example, they have given a reference number of 200. If they create supplies, say for example, they have given a reference number of 150. That means after a certain period of time, they will just mention that transfer this account to 101, transfer this accounts to 150, transfer these accounts to 200, like that. This code number is being used only. And whenever they hear any code number, say 275, they can easily understood what types of account is this. Say 275, if I mention that account number is 275, what types of account is it?
It's
an asset.
It's an asset. 900
Um,
Revenue.
revenue, like that they use the code number only to specify any accounts. So this is how they transfer the information and use any code number for each of the accounts to identify that account and to refer or link those accounts to other activities. Got some idea?
yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
All right, sir. Cool. You'll see it. Just let me complete this one, then you can realize what's the difference between these two. Okay. So we have transferred the information for cash. Similarly, for the capital, we also need to refer it to the journal. So we need a reference number or code number for capital. What could be the code number of the capital?
1101.
1101. Yep. Because all the owner's equity related activities will be coded from 1101 to 1200. So let us refer 1101. Now we also need to record it to the journal's reference. That capital amount, this amount has been transferred to 1101. Done. That's how posting is being made from journal to ledger. So after transferring this information, next move to the next one. Next one was not a transaction, so you do not have to worry about transferring this information from journal to ledger. Third one, rent expense and cash. We paid rent on cash. So we need to create account. How many accounts need to create into the ledger?
So now we need to create rent account,
Only the rent account, because we already have the cash
cash
account.
account.
We already have the cash account. This is why we just need to create a account regarding rent. So rent expense. So what might be the code number of the rent expense? 501. Excellent. 501. Now let us look to the journal. So rent expense will be debited by 1500. We are transferring to 501. Cash will be credited by 1500. We'll transfer it to 101. So let's transfer the rent first. On April 2, rent expense will be debited by 1500. What should be the particulars?
Cash.
Cash. How we pay the rent. And on April 2, cash will be credited by 1500. Particulars will be rent expense. Basically, what is in the opposite of the journal. So this is how we can transfer it. It also comes from journal page number 1. That's how we'll refer it. Transfer information from journal to ledger. You can notice that we
So
have
page number 1.
uh, basically, as we have mentioned, if there might be thousands of journal, and when they are recording to the journals books, all the journal, there will be page 1, page 2, page 3, page 4, like that. So these journals have been transferred from page number 1. There might be page number 10, 12, 13, like that, just to link it up from where we collect this information. Okay, done. So next one, that you can notice that I have mentioned a column that is called balance. Now, what does the balance means? Balance means the difference between debit and credit columns. The difference of debit and credit columns, or total of debit and total of credits, is known as balance. So after transferring each of the information to the ledger, we need to find out the balance. Say here, after transferring this 20,000 cash to the capital account, what will be the balance of the cash?
17,500.
No, on day one,
Sir, 20,000.
20,000. 20,000. After April 2,
1,500.
we have
No,
to
sir,
consider the, yeah,
18,500,
we
sir.
have to consider the total. Okay, we need to consider the total, and that means whatever happened so far. So it will be 18,500, because total of debit is 20,000, total of credit is 1,500. The difference is 18,500. Similarly, for capital, there is only one activities we have transferred so far. What will be the balance?
20,000.
20,000. And for rent, so far we have transferred one only. There is a balance of 1,500. So this is how we'll identify the balances. And whenever we find out the balances, if you notice, you can see that sometimes total debit is higher than the total credit, or sometimes total credit is higher than the total debit. So two situations can be arises here. One is total of debit is higher than the total of credit, or total of credit is higher than the total of debit, or sometimes it can be like that, total debit equals to total of credit. So balance means the difference, and when we find out the difference, and if I find that the total debit is higher than the total of credit, the difference at that time will be called debit balance. When total of credit is higher than the total of debit, the difference will be called credit balance. When total debit equals to total credit, the difference is called nil balance. So balance can be these three types. Basically, the first two is debit balance, credit balance, and the nil balance. The debit balance means total debit is higher than the total credit. The difference will be known as debit balance. When total credit is higher than the total debit, then the difference will be called credit balance. And if these two are same, there will be no balance or nil balance. That's how we can identify the different balances. Okay. So after identifying the first balance of the cash account, what types of balance is it?
So debit balance.
Debit balance. It is better to mention like that. 20,000 debit. This 18,500
Debit.
yes, debit as well. Debit. This 20,000 of cash capital,
Credit.
credit, because total credit is higher than the total debit. Excellent. And for this one, rent expense,
Debit.
debit. That's how after transferring information, we'll find out the balances as well and which balance it belongs to. That also need to identify. After that, is it okay? Sir,
Sir, I have a question. Sir, yes, the
please.
same thing.
Yeah, no problem. Please.
Sir, could you please explain the particular column? What do you mean by particular?
Okay, when we are transferring the number 3, I'll explain it again. Is there anything else without that particular issues?
Uh, Sir, yes, sir. Sir, we need three tables for three ledger, cash,
Yeah,
capital, and rent expense.
yeah.
But sir, so I thought here only you will only be writing cash. I mean, but we are writing capital and rent expense in the cash table.
Mm-hmm.
sir. I don't understand.
You don't understand why? Okay, that is related to the particular issues. Okay, I'm transferring the next one. That will be clear to you. Okay. Okay. So far we have transferred two journals. In the third journals, we can see that supplies, debit, accounts payable, credit. Now, if I want to transfer it to the ledger, do I need to create any new account?
Sorry, sir, I don't understand.
We so far we already transferred these two journals into the ledger, cash capital and rent expense and cash. We have already created three accounts regarding cash capital and rent expenses. After transferring this one, when we move for the next channels, we can see that there are two more accounts, supplies and accounts payable. So now we are interested to transfer this information to the ledger. So if you are interested to transfer this information to ledger, do I need to create any new account into the ledger
Yes, sir.
regarding
Sir, supplies or accounts payable?
supplies and accounts payable both? Because there is no supplies and accounts payable account into the ledger. So what we have to do initially, we have to create both account first into the ledger.
Sir, are we trying to make a trial?
We will do it later on. So we are now going to create two accounts. One is related to supplies, another one is related to accounts payable. So what can be the code number for supplies?
Sir, 101.
101 is already provided for cash.
So 102.
102, okay. 102. So one thing you should keep in mind, if you provide any code number to any specific account, that cannot be used for other account. For accounts payable,
30.
sorry,
301.
301. Okay, 301. So just keep in mind accounts payable 301 and supplies 102. Supplies 102, we are transferring this information, and 301 to accounts payable. So supplies was debited by 4,000 and accounts payable was credited by 4,000. Now we are transferring this to information to supplies and accounts payable account. So supplies was debited by 4,000 on April 3, and in the particular we should mention, we purchase supplies by paying cash or accounts payable. That means what was on the credit side, on the opposite side. What what should we write it down? Supplies was debited by 4,000. What should be the particular? Accounts payable. Payable. And reference number will be journal page 01. So have you?
Sir,
Yeah,
you mean the opposite term?
that's the opposite terms. It will explain you when you purchase supplies, was you paid by cash or on account or something else. Is it okay?
Oh, okay, sir.
Okay. And for accounts payable, again on April 3, we purchased supplies on account. That's why 4,000 was credited, and this accounts payable was credited by 4,000 because of supplies. Journal reference, journal page number 01. And we also need to find out the balance. What should be the balance for supplies?
4,000.
4,000. I also need to mention debit or credit. Debit. Regarding accounts payable, what should be the balance?
4,000 credits, sir.
4,000 credit, definitely. 4,000 credit. Thank you, sir. So this is how we have to transfer the information. And we already transferred journal number 3. Then on 10, accounts receivable and service revenue. Do I need to create any account?
Yes, sir. We need to both.
Both. We need the both. Accounts receivable debit 5100, service revenue credit 5100. Because there is no accounts receivable and service revenue account into the ledger, we have to create both. Accounts receivable and service revenue. Accounts receivable and service revenue. Initially, we need a code number for accounts receivable and service revenue. What might be the code number for accounts receivable?
103,
103. Okay. And for service revenue?
801.
801. 103 and 801. These two code number will be used into the journal. 103 801. So accounts receivable was debited 5100, service revenue was credited by 5100. Now we are going to transfer these two information. Accounts receivable was debited by 5100 on April 10 by service revenue balance definitely 5100 debit, and service revenue April 11 should be accounts receivable credited by 5100 5100 credit. So this is how we have transferred the information for journal on April 10. Now look at 11. 11. Cash and unearned service revenue. Help me. Cash and
So we need,
yep.
sir, unearned service revenue.
We need the unearned service revenue only because cash is already available or into the ledger, or you already created the cash account. So we just need one more account here for dealing with that journal, unearned service revenue. So how can we provide an code for unearned service revenue? What might be the code for unearned service revenue?
Sir, 802.
802. Do you think that it's a revenue account? Unearned service revenue. What types of account is it? 302, because it's a liability.
Liability.
And that's how we can categorize. From the code number, we can identify what types of account are these. That's how it helps us. So unearned service revenue, it's a liability 302. Unearned service revenue is a liability, it will be transferred to 302, and cash we created, the code number was 101 probably. So we are transferring this cash 1000 debit to 101 ledger number. We are transferring this unearned service revenue of 1000 to this ledger number 302. So cash was debit 1000, On April 11, cash was debited by earned service revenue debited by 1000. So what will be the balance? What is the balance for cash now?
So 19,500.
19,500. Yes, definitely. Thank you. And already transferred to the cash. Now we are going to transfer to earned service revenue. On April 11, we received cash 1000. So 1000 credit funds.
Sir,
Yes, sir.
about the journal page number and the code number, will this be provided in the question?
It can be provided into the questions, or if it is not being provided and if you are asked to, you can easily generate it. It's a very good question. Let me show you here. So for this one, you can see that they have created account. Have you noticed it? You can see a number, cash 112, accounts receivable 126, supplies 201. Have you seen this number? This is the code number. This is the ledger code number or ledger reference number. Is it okay? And for the journals, if it is not being given, you can easily generate it. But the most important part is for the ledger one. It can be given, or if it is not been given, you can easily generate it by following. That is the policy. That's how an organization prepare. So we have done with 11. Now let's move to 20. On 20th, cash and service revenue. We have debited cash and credited service revenue. How many accounts need to be created into the ledger?
So it's already created.
Both accounts are already
Created.
created into the ledger, so we don't need to create any new account regarding cash and service revenue. Probably cash was code number with 101 and service revenue probably 801. So we are going to transfer these two information into 101 and 801. 2100. Cash was debited by 2100 on April 20 for service revenue. 2100. What should be the balance, sir? What will be the balance?
21,600
21,600
debit.
debit. And service revenue will be credited by 2100. This is cash 2100. Balance
7,200 credit.
credit. And 30. Salaries expense and cash. Do I need to create any account?
So we need to create the salaries expense.
Salaries expense. We already have the cash. So what can be the code number of salaries expense or the reference number of salaries expense?
303.
503, huh? Is it 303 or 503?
Sorry, 503.
503, yeah. We have to be careful because if you provide a wrong code number, that means you are changing the category of this account. So salaries expense was on 30th April 30 was we paid cash, was debited by 2800. So the balance will be 2800 debit 503, and cash was on 30th. Cash expense was credited by 2800. What might be the balance now for cash? What would be the balance of cash now?
18,800.
18,800
Okay.
debit. Thank you, sir.
We need to write debit.
Yeah. Why it? I'll discuss it in the next session, not this session. And the last one, accounts payable and cash. Do I need to create any account?
No, sir.
Both are
Both
created.
are created.
Both are created. Accounts payable was debited by 2600 and cash was credited by 2600. So into the accounts payable account, this one, on April 30 we paid cash, channel page number, debited by 2600. So what is the balance now?
1400
1400 debit or credit?
credit, sir.
Credit. Excellent.
In journal April 30, we need to write any reference.
Yeah, definitely we have to mention the reference.
Previous one.
Yeah, say this is 301 and 101. Did you mention this one?
Yes.
I already put them. The last one is cash. On 30th we paid payable. How much we paid? How much remains? What's the balance now, sir?
16,200.
16,200. Thank you. This is how we need to transfer information from journal to ledger, and that's how we can find out the balances as well after preparing the ledger. Now one of your friends had a query, what's the difference between journal and ledger? Now you can see what's the difference between that two. That in the journals we just record the information, but in the ledgers we actually summarize the information, and after summarizing the information we can provide any source of information that can be asked. Say sometimes the higher authority may ask us, okay, on 20th of April how much cash were on hand? Is it possible to find it out? On 20th April how much cash on hand?
21,600.
21,600. At the end of April how much cash on hand? 16,200. Say they may ask for what is the revenue we earned so far till April 11, 5100. What is the total revenue we have earned till to date? 7200. This is how we actually summarize each of the accounts and provide different types of information that actually required or asked for. That's how this ledger is being prepared. Is it now clear? Why do we need to prepare ledger, or how can we prepare ledger? Cool. Sorry. Yeah,
So do companies prepare ledger like simultaneously with channels, or
definitely,
there's some?
definitely, because nowadays we use software. So so the organization don't have to worry about that. They just input the information and automatically journals and ledgers is being prepared. But whenever you want to deal with the accounting issues, whenever you want need to record or input those information, you definitely have to have this clear idea how the journals need to be prepared, how the ledgers need to be prepared, or how can we grab information from the journals and ledgers. Okay, cool. So whenever we try to find out the balance, I mentioned that the balance means the total of the difference of total of debit and credit. So whenever you have couple of hundreds transaction in an account, it is difficult to find out the total debit and total credit and the balance then. So how can we find out the balance? If you notice like that, say and at the very beginning of this cash account, the total debit was 20,000, total credit was 20,000, then 20,000 debit balance. So whenever we are adjusting the second account of 1500 credit, we can easily adjust it with the previous balance. So previous balance was 20,000 debit, this 1500 were credit. So if debit and credit are here, so we have to deduct it. That is 18,500. And which one was greater? Debit was greater. That's why debit. Similarly, for the third one, 18,500 was the previous balance. We again 1000 debit. So both are debited. So what we have to do? We have to add it. 19,500 debit. Have you got it? How should we find out the balance?
Yes.
So if there is both are credit, if both are credit, say this one 5100 was credit, again 2100 were credited. So if both are credit, we have to add it again 7200. That means if one is debit, one is credit, we have to consider the difference. If both are debit, we have to add it. If both are credit, we have to add it as well. That's how we can find out the balance. And what balance it would be, debit or credit, depends on which one is higher, debit one or credit one. This is how we can find out the balance after preparing the ledger. Can you remember how many steps need to be complete into the recording process? How many steps need to complete into the recording process? No one?
So two,
What are these?
identifying the transaction and recording the transaction.
These are the steps. Yeah, and in the recording the transaction, how many steps are there? Three. What are these?
Ledger,
Journal,
trial balance,
ledger. Yeah,
journal.
journal first, then ledger, then the trial balance. Thank you so much, sir. So now we have done the journal, we have done the ledger. Now we have to see how can we prepare a trial balance. Trial balance is nothing, just transferring the ending balance from the ledger to a new statement. Hello.
Sir,
Yes, sir.
explain again how we would understand which stage of the journal we're taking the information from.
Can you please repeat, sir?
How will you understand which stage of the journal we're taking the information from?
Okay. A minute. You means that this page number, is it?
Yes,
So whenever you have couple of hundreds journals, if you are maintaining a book or for recording your journals, is it possible to record all the journals in one page? No, there might be couple of pages. So it actually indicates you this information includes into the journals book in which page. page number 1, page number 2, page number 3, so that whenever you sometimes you need to verify this information, you can easily go to that page number. Say for example, this information has come from page number 150. You don't have to look at all the pages, you just will go to 150 number page and try to find out on April 11 what was the actual journal.
Sir, my question was, while writing the reference, how do we understand which page the information is from?
uh, because whenever you are recording your journals, you specifically have the page number for that journal book. Do you have that page number whenever you are maintaining a book?
Yes, sir, this will be provided in the question.
It can be provided into the question or you can assume it. I'm discussing from a practical aspects. In the problems for this one, the problems I just mentioned, I just showed few minutes back, that in this problem the journal page number was not been given. Okay, that's why you can just consider that, okay, these all these transactions was recorded in one page, so journal page, or you assume that it has been recorded in journal page number 1, you just mention the page number 1. But if you notice, you can see that ledger code number had been given here, so we definitely have to use that code number to identify those accounts. And if the journal page number is not given, you can skip it or you can assume any numbers. Okay,
Sir, I had another question.
please sir.
The next session, will we be able to join using our GCP mail?
Sorry.
Sir, I was saying, that can we join the next class using our GCP mail?
Yeah, yeah, yes, 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 you can, you can. So that's how we have generalized the transaction. Now we are going to transfer the information to the ledger trial balance. Into the trial balance, this is the format of the trial balance. Trial balance, name of the company need to be mentioned first. Vera Ernst. Vera Ernst. And this trial balance is being prepared. As I mentioned, we transferred all the balance or last balance from each of the accounts. And as per this problem, the balance are related to April 30, the last date. So we'll mention April 30, whatever the year was. And whenever we want to prepare a trial balance, what we will do, at first we'll write down the accounts title we have created. Let us see what are the accounts title we have created while preparing the ledger. Cash, capital, cash, capital, rent expense, supplies, accounts payable, accounts receivable, accounts payable and receivable as well, accounts payable, accounts receivable, service revenue, unearned service revenue, salaries expense, service revenue, unearned service revenue, salaries. Okay, that's all. Now what are you going to do? We are going to transfer the ending balance, that is the last balance of each account, to the trial balance. First, cash. What is the ending balance of cash?
16,200
16,200. Which balance is it, debit or credit?
debit.
Debit. So we'll transfer this 16,200 of cash into the debit column. Then capital. Capital 20,000. Which balance?
So credit.
Credit. So we'll transfer 20,000 to the credit column. Then rent expense. How should we transfer? 1,500. Where?
Debit.
Debit. 1,500 debit. Supplies. Supplies 4,000 debit. 4,000 debit. Accounts payable. Accounts payable
1,400 credit.
1,400 credit. Last one 1,400 credit. Then accounts
1,500
5,100 debit. Service revenue
7,200 credit.
7,200 credit. Unearned service revenue
1,000 credit.
1,000 credit. Excellent. So thank you so much. And the last one, salaries expense
2,800 credit.
2,800 debit. We transferred all the information. After doing that, what we need to do, we have to sum up the debit and credit column.
Sir, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Sir, is unearned service revenue and accounts receivable the same thing?
No. What does the okay? Tell me what does the unearned service revenue means?
Service revenue which did not get yet, like cash which did not receive.
Cash
Yes, sir, we cash received, but
service
we
not
did
provided.
provide the service.
Cash received but service not provided, but you are liable to provide service. It's a liability. You already got the cash, but you did not provide the service. It's a liability. On the other hand, accounts receivable means you will receive the cash later on. You already provide the service. Got the difference?
Yes, sir.
Cool. Cool. So after transferring information from ledger to trial balance, we'll add up the debit and credit column. Then you can see that total debit equals to total credit. Why both are same? Can anyone explain why the debit column equals to total of credit?
Because it was supposed to serve.
Why it is supposed to? Because whenever we started recording through journals, same amount was debited and same amount was credited, isn't it? And that reflected to the ledger, and from the ledger we transfer information here. So definitely the total of debit must be equals to the total of credit if we do not make any mistakes in recording. That identified here, but it doesn't mean that we haven't made any mistake. Even though both sides are same, there could be some mistakes. So for example, whenever we purchase supplies, the supplies was purchased for 4,000. That's why we have record 4,000 debit, 4,000 credit. Instead of 4,000, if I write 400, is it correct?
No, sir.
No. Is it a mistake?
Yes, sir.
Can it be identified by preparing trial
Not by
balance?
not by debit is equal to credit.
Not by debit equals credit, because even if you are recording at 400, the trial balance will be matched, but it doesn't mean that there is no mistake. So that's why it has been said, by preparing trial balance, even if both sides are matched, it doesn't indicate that there is no mistake. It just indicates the arithmetical accuracy. What does the arithmetical accuracy means? Arithmetical accuracy means that you have recorded the same amount to the debit and credit throughout the process, from journalization, ledger, and trial balance. Okay, have you got it?
Yes, sir. I have a question, sir.
Please, sir.
Yes, sir. In the code system of the ledger,
Mhm.
uh, the codes are supposed to be the page number, right?
Now, codes are not supposed to be the page number. Codes can be anything. Code number can be anything. But for journal, we have
Like,
used,
how can we find any given code?
say, if it is in sequence, if it is in sequence, then you can easily find it out. Say, you know that after 301, there will be 302, 304, 305, something like that.
Sir, I have a confusion regarding the assignment.
We'll discuss about the assignment later on. Let me finish this one first.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, into the trial balance, you can also see that the reference number, it indicates that this cash, what is the reference number of cash? 101. What is the reference number of capital? That was 1101. Like that, we'll transfer all the reference number here, so that we can easily identify that this rent expense of balance has been transferred from this account number.
So the reference will be given in the question.
Reference can be given into the question, or if it is not been given, you can skip it. Okay, but I am discussing the whole process, what is actually going on in the real life.
So can we skip the whole tab of reference?
No, it's not better to skip the whole tab of reference if it is not been given, because you should show that you know this one, even though if it has not been mentioned. All right, sir.
All right,
Um,
sir.
Okay. Uh,
sir, since debit is equals to credit, sir, how can we say that the company is making profit? Or,
no, from here we cannot say whether the organization is making any profit or not. After that process, we need to prepare the financial statement. We'll see later on.
right,
Okay. So the trial balance, there are some discussions are still into the trial balance. On next session, that is on 21st, there will be no session on the 21st, but the previous section that has requested me to take an additional session on Sunday at 7:30 evening. So if you are interested, you can join on that session where we will discuss different issues about this trial balance, and you might have some problems. We'll discuss on that problems after the discussions we have made. Okay.
Okay, so same link.
No, I'll send you a link. I'll send you a link
Okay.
for this additional session. If you are interested, you can join. It's not mandatory. If you are interested, you can join. Come up with your problems. That problems will be discussed there, and I'll conclude the trial balance part on that session. And definitely, I'll share the recording with you all as well.
Okay, so
Okay. So some of your friend might have some problems with assignment or something else you have mentioned.
so I have a question.
Yeah, please.
Someone mentioned about G Suite Mail. Sir, I am joining using my G Suite Mail from the first day. So
Okay.
will you have any problem?
No,
Like,
no, no. It's not a problem. Just share with me in the G Suite account that whenever you are assigning, submitting your assignment or participating the quiz, the marks I'll receive based on the G Suite account, so that I can grab those information. That's why I'm asking for the G Suite account from you all individually.
okay, sir.
Okay. Yeah, probably
Thank
some. Yeah, no problem, sir. One of your friends have wanted to ask me about assignment or something like that.
So in the assignment, do we need write to only the amounts?
Do you need to?
Write only the amounts.
What is been asked there?
So Sir,
You have asked for the
that
tabular analysis
yes.
and some other information as well. Just follow the procedures you have followed into the session. How have you done the tabular analysis? That will be fine. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Is assignment one graded?
Yeah, yeah. Definitely graded.
But I didn't do it, sir, because I asked you for like 3 classes ago. You say you'll inform if there's any update.
I?
Yes, sir.
What did I say?
You'll inform by email, sir, about the assignment.
Did I?
Yes, sir. But so that's why I didn't do anything. It was all about, sir, how many chapters are there.
Yeah, yeah. All about. Sorry, I can't remember at this moment. Okay. If someone missed the assignment, can you
Sir,
please?
many of us did.
Okay. Can you please email me?
Okay, sir.
Okay, email me so that
Sir, I did also miss the assignment.
also.
Yes, sir. I missed it as well. So
Sir,
it
Me
was
too,
based on
sir.
the terms and conditions.
Yeah,
That's why I didn't do
that's why you haven't done. But
sir,
you
I
have to
thought it
do it.
was just not compulsory because it was just names and chapters.
No, 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 not for that. That's why it was just to familiarize you with the course outline, so that from the very beginning you can understood how we should proceed throughout the semester. That's why this assignments was been
Sir,
given on
it was
this.
easy mark.
Yeah, this was easy. Okay, just
Okay,
email me who have missed the assignment with the reasons. Then let's see what can I do for you.
okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
All right, sir. Thank you all. See you in the next session. And if someone joins into the additional session, see you on the additional session as well. Thank you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Goodbye.
sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.